Welcome to Extremely Valid Points.
We're three business owners and friends who enjoy talking about business, marketing, and creativity.
Along the way, we just might happen to make some extremely valid points.
So we'd love it if you would join us in today's conversation. Welcome back to another episode of Extremely Valid Points. I'm your co-host, Jenny Sala.
And I'm Nathan Sala.
And I'm Dave Wilkins.
Today, we're talking about client retention and marketing strategies for client retention. We are in a 4-part series. This is part 4. And so we've been talking about how important it is to retain clients. And we were inspired to do this 4-part series based on some stuff we read in the Harvard Business Review. They say that it's 5 to 25 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than to just keep the one that you have already. And they also said increasing customer retention rates by 5% can increase your profits anywhere from 25 to 95%. So we've been inspired talking about how can we keep our current clients as a growth business model. And we have talked about 4 different ways that you can go about that. And this is also based on another study. This is from GigaOM, a research marketing company, and they surveyed digital marketing agencies and asked them what are the best ways to market to existing customers. They said they did a survey and they had a huge list of all the different ways. We're just talking about the top 4. So in part 1 of our series, we talked about email marketing. That's the most effective way to market to clients. Part 2, we talked about content marketing. Part 3 was all about social media marketing. And today we are going to talk about referral marketing.
Great.
Sounds good.
All right. So why do we want to do referral marketing to our existing customers? 2 reasons. One, if your customer already loves you and they're already an existing customer, they also probably know more people like them. And so reaching out to your existing customers as a way to grow your business, to ask for referrals, is an awesome way to get some really great new business.
Awesome.
So referral marketing is when you ask your existing clients to tell all their friends and they can become clients. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
And I don't know about you guys, but when we meet with clients, we always ask them, like, how are you getting your business right now?
Right.
Almost every single time they say our number one source of business is referrals. We hear it all day long.
So because I think that is a common thing, right? It's hopefully if you're doing well as a business, you're probably getting some referrals, and that could be at sort of default mode, right? For operating on your marketing is just word of mouth, right?
Right.
So how can we take that? Obviously it is effective. You can get some good new clients that way, but how can we be more strategic and intentional about it?
Great question, Dave. So I'm going to share some tips today. I have 9 practical tips for creating and implementing a referral marketing program. So I love the way you said that. I think referrals come naturally when you're not doing anything else. Sometimes just that word of mouth can be enough to keep your business going. But if you think about and if you're not asking for referrals and you're not even going after referrals and you're getting some, how much more can you get by going after them, by asking for them? Another reason why referral marketing is great is because it reinforces that existing relationship with your current client. If you make me look good because I send my friend to you, and now my friend is happy with me because I sent them to you, that makes me, even my feelings, my emotions towards you as my company that I work with, so much more strong.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some ideas for implementing a referral marketing plan. First tip is to ask your ideal clients for referrals. And this is just a really great place to start. Thinking about who your best clients are. I don't necessarily recommend that you ask all your clients for referrals if some of your customers aren't the easiest to work with, or maybe just not like the most perfect fit. Thinking in terms of like customers that you have that they're going to kind of have more people. They're going to know more people that are like them.
Right.
And so if you have a great client, ask that great client if they know anybody else like them that might need your services or products.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because obviously you don't want to, if you have a certain kind of client that is not going to be, fit really well with your business, you don't want more of that. You want more of those people that like, hey, this went really smoothly, it went really well, everybody was happy. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And if you're trying to grow your business, sometimes we take on clients that we think, okay, well, they're not an ideal fit, but it's work and
Right.
I need work. And so sometimes we take on that kind of business, but what we don't realize is what that can reproduce later is now down the road, that person's going to send more people our way that are like them. And then we spend more time doing the stuff that isn't exactly what we want to do or our favorite kind of project or that type of thing.
Makes sense.
All right. So tip number 2 is know who your happiest and most engaged clients are and engage with them, talk to them first when it comes to asking for referrals.
And how do we know who those most engaged clients are?
Great question. So one way, if your business is relatively small still and you're, doing a lot of the engaging with your customers yourself, if it's more of like a personal one-to-one kind of thing, the type of people who are the most engaged and happiest with you are the ones who are complimenting you, thanking you. They're communicating to you that they're pleased and happy with the work that you've done. A great way to, if they're not communicating that they're happy, you can ask them. Ask them if they fill out a survey. Ask them how we did today. Ask them, would you refer me to a friend based on the service that I provided you today? And if they say yes, then perfect lead-in. Do you know anybody who could use our services now?
Right. Yeah, I think, and I think sometimes we don't realize the power of the ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's, I think about myself being more introverted. A lot of times I'm hesitant to ask people like, well, what did you think? Or how did this, can you, would you be able to refer us, but a lot of times sometimes it just takes that little extra ask for them to go, oh yeah, of course, I loved this service. I would love to share this and help spread the word. But they're not maybe thinking of that, or they just need that little push over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But then also to be respectful of that too, right? To be gauging to see like, okay, this person is involved. They would likely be helpful in recruiting other people. These people seem to want little interaction, so let's not bother them because we don't want to make a bad experience for them.
Exactly. Yeah. So another way that you can gauge whether or not this customer really is happy and pleased with you and the ideal person to ask for a referral is through a sophisticated CRM. And we talked about email marketing, and with a sophisticated CRM, you can know how many emails this person's opening, if they're clicking on links, how much they're visiting your website. There's a lot of things that you can gauge with a sophisticated CRM, and some of them are so fancy that you can assign like points to a person, and the CRM itself can score someone as, and like this is, an ambassador. This person's become an ambassador for your brand. Well, that's the kind of person you want to ask for referrals to. If they're really engaged, they're really interested in your products or services by interacting with the marketing materials that you're sending them, then they're a perfect fit for asking for a referral.
Wow. So if you have a really sophisticated CRM, you can just look at that and it'll say, just send ask for referrals email campaign to these people.
Exactly.
Wow. That sounds really easy.
Do you guys know anyone that sets up sophisticated CRMs?
We do actually. Our company does that. Worldlightmedia.com.
Perfect.
So there's the perfected version of a survey. It's called the Net Promoter Score. Have you guys heard of this? It's basically one single question. It's on a scale of 1 to 10. Would you recommend our services to your friend? So it's basically asking if they would be a good candidate for being a recipient of an ask for a referral campaign. So basically it's like,
Smart.
but really you can gauge all of your how well you are effectively delighting your customers by this one single question.
Yep.
Based on where it is, and you want to get a 10 or a 9, obviously, and you want to send it out to everybody. But out of the responses, people will either, a lot of times people won't do it, but I've even seen a simpler version of this on Google. They do this on some of their content or their help files or even some of their emails. It's a smiley face, a medium face, and then a frown face. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like you are understanding. I mean, maybe that's better for like, hey, does this content meet the mark and stuff like that? But yeah, little tiny surveys, because a lot of times people won't fill out a long survey.
Right.
But it's one simple question. Would you recommend us?
Yeah.
Net promoter score. That's what you want.
That's great. So how are we doing on this podcast? Give us a 5-star rating or above.
Right.
How likely are you to refer us to your friends?
Yeah.
And if you like it, would you tell your friends about our podcast?
And if you don't, just hit that stop button right now.
All right. So tip number 3, I think this is a great transition for it, is make it easy to get the referral, make it easy to give the referral. So thinking ahead of time, before you go and ask that person for a referral, how are you going to make it easy for them to send your information to their friend or for their friend to contact you? So think ahead about what a warm handoff might look like and make it super simple so that it's not complicated. The less complicated it is, the more likely people are willing to say, sure, I'll do that. I'll forward that email to my friend who is in the market for your service or something like that. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do this. The main key is just make sure that it's super simple and not too much work. Some examples of ways to do this are business cards. Of course, business cards aren't really optimal right now in a COVID world. Most of the business that we're doing these days is not in person. So a business card, maybe next year might be a great way. And everybody has business cards. Flyers, emails especially are great. Putting a button on your website or even a button at the end of your email signature that says something like forward my contact information or refer me to a friend, and that button would then lead them to a form they could fill out to introduce you. Or a button on your website that says, refer us to a friend, tell a friend about us, something like that.
Great.
Yeah, that was really good.
All right. So then this next tip number 4, also really in line with tip number 3, is get your contact information on their phones. Another great way to make sure that you can get a referral is make sure that your customer has your information and that it's really easy for them to forward it on. Like if they have to think, I'll need to look up his phone number, any extra steps involved really lower that opportunity. And, let's face it, we're busy. I say a lot of things like, I'm going to get to that. And if I don't write it down, and even if I do write it down, the reality is it might slip through the cracks because I'm busy. Life is moving fast. I got a lot of things to do. And even though I have good intentions, I might just not get to it. So a great way to get your contact information on somebody's phone is, at a first introduction or something, you can say, here, tell me your phone number. I'll text you. We'll have each other's numbers. Or something like that, so that your number's on their phone. When they are thinking of you and they know somebody who needs your help, they can do that, share the contact information or do like a text where they're a group text, a group email, something like that.
Get their digits.
So, I think that works really good, especially for the personal aspect of things. But maybe if you are is there any way we adapt that maybe to more the business in a sense that maybe, if you wanted to share something, maybe you're more comfortable sharing, hey, this is my business so much, not like my direct contact. If maybe there's other people at the organization that might be, maybe you're not the sales or the marketing person, but you have the ability, you're an ambassador, you're a representative, but you could still share, hey, you ought to check out my business.
Yeah. I suppose it all has to be in context, right? It's not like
Sure.
walking straight up to somebody and saying, "Get out your phone.
Well,
I'm
absolutely.
going to give you my number."
It needs to flow naturally.
Okay.
And for me personally, when I've been at networking events, it's been like, oh, well, I know somebody, or, maybe we should connect later. And there's this, obviously now is not a good time, but there's some sort of openness to there being future communication. And that's when, to me, it makes a lot of sense to get somebody's number. Like, for example, we were at a chamber mixer event a few weeks ago, and I see a person there every month when I go to the chamber meetings. I see them at all the mixers. We've been talking for a long time. And for a long time, he's been telling me that he wants to reevaluate our life insurance plan. And so I know him, and I feel very comfortable with him, and I would be happy to have a discussion with him about that. But the reality was I still didn't have his number in my phone. And that was one more limit to me, like taking that next step and contacting him. And so we did. He said, we got out our phones and sent each other a text. Now we have each other's info. And then that barrier was gone. And then we were texting each other back and forth. And now we're getting a reevaluation on our life insurance policy.
Wow, it works.
Yeah. I mean, well, I think that's an important point that, essentially you have to be able to have that point of contact, some sort of, essentially it's a marketing material, whether it's a phone number exchanged, whether it's a business card, whether it's some sort, an email, anything like that, something that is going to make it easy for them when, maybe they're open at this point, but they're not going to, we're not going to do life insurance right now.
Right.
But when that comes back up and they have that need, like you're saying, that it's easy where you can access that person's information, or sometimes it's even like, what was their name? Or what was the name of that company that I was interested in, but I wasn't ready to do the deal. Mm-hmm. So something that's going to make that memorable, sticky, and easy for them to make that contact.
Exactly. All right. So tip number 5 is timing. Timing is so important. Thinking about in the life cycle of your customer, when is the most opportune time to ask them for a referral? When are they most pleased or most happy or potentially most excited about the product or service? And knowing, and again, that's going to may be different for each company and industry and based on what your product or service is. But knowing when that is and thinking about that ahead of time is a good idea. You don't want to, for some people, the worst time to ask for a referral would be when you send out an invoice, when they're having to write that check for what they're paying for, that might be a more painful moment for them. Not that they're not happy with what you've done, but maybe waiting a week after they've paid the invoice. For some people, the timing might be even before you start doing the product or service. I know we just got a card in the mail from a construction company that's going to be building a pergola for us in our backyard. We're still, we're on the waiting list. We're still a few months out before they build our pergola. But right now, we're excited about building a pergola in our backyard. And he knew that. And so he sent me a card thanking me for my business and then also mentioning that he has appreciates referrals and gave me some incentives, which is a tip farther down the road. But so knowing when to ask is really, really important because sometimes it's not that people don't want to give you a referral. It's just not the right time.
That makes sense. On one hand, I would think like, okay, well, am I going to refer somebody? They haven't even done the work yet. But I think as companies, obviously we want to do really good work. But when you kind of want to strike when the excitement is high, right?
Yeah.
So the anticipation, once you have it, you're enjoying it, but it might not be top of mind.
Exactly.
In the same way that it's like, hey, we're going to have this. It's going to be great. Mm-hmm. We love the plans. Mm-hmm. And so now you're thinking about it a lot and you're more willing to, just kind of promote that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So tip number 6 is consider offering a deal. Again, it's going to depend on your product, your service, the cost involved, those types of things. But sometimes just creating an incentive or a kickback of some kind can be a good reason for somebody to actually reach out to their friends and actually tell them about you. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Again, our pergola guy, he offered us a $500 kickback if anybody that we know is interested in their services. So if you're interested, let me know. But after, if we send them some business and they do business with them, they're going to give us a check for $500 just for telling other people about them. And so that's a great offer or incentive. Some other incentives that I've seen people do is like for example, some subscription services. Tell your friend about us. We'll give them an introductory offer, and then we'll give you also a special credit towards your regular purchase or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways you could go about it. The important thing is knowing what you can part with in terms of like staying profitable, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
Being profitable is important. And then also, what makes sense based on what you're offering, what your service is.
Yeah, I think also you could maybe give a discount. Say, hey, if you send your friends to me, I'll give you an incentive, and I'll also give them, $500 off their deal too. So, so it's even more of an incentive to say, hey, go check out this service and get a good deal.
Right, because we look good when we help our friends. So if our friends want or need something that we know somebody and we can get you, I can get you a deal. Just tell them Jenny sent you. That makes you feel cool. That makes them feel cool and special. Like everybody it's always great when you feel connected or like you're getting something special or you're on the inside. And so creating that for your clients is a great way to get business. Also a great way to make everybody happy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So tip number 7 is recognize and thank your referral sources. This is so important. I got a referral the other day from someone, and after writing a proposal and they accepted it, the first thing I did was went and texted my friend who sent me a referral. And I was like, thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you for the warm handoff. I wanted to let you know, like, we're going to be doing business together. We're really excited about this project and really appreciate it. And, this was the perfect referral for me. So if you know anybody else like them, send them my way too. And, I got a reply back. Everybody, I feel good when I can introduce people to my friend or, somebody I know. And when I know that they appreciate it, I want to do it even more. So it's so important if somebody sends you a referral to recognize them, let them know, hey, I noticed this and I appreciate it and I value that. It goes a long way.
Yeah, that is important. Whether it's a direct, personal thing, or sometimes even if it's just on a business level, if your customers feel appreciated and valued, and they recognize the fact that you're promoting and helping them, they're going to want to keep doing it.
Absolutely. I think an analogy for this would be like if somebody gives you, I don't know if you've ever given somebody a gift and then you didn't get a thank you. Maybe it was you didn't get a thank you card, you didn't get a thank you email or a thank you text, and you don't know, like, did they get the gift? It makes you think, like, did they not get the thing I sent them? Like, because a referral is like a gift. You want to thank people for it, show appreciation.
True.
Good point.
All right. And then tip number 8 is ask your clients to like you on Facebook. Ask them to follow you on social media. Depending on your client, they could have anywhere from, 50 to 2,000 friends on Facebook. A great way to potentially get more referrals and more exposure is to get them to like you and engage with you on social media platforms. It's a real easy way for people to share your content, give you a rating or a review, those types of things.
Cool.
All right. And then the last tip for today for creating a great client retention referral marketing plan is to make your customers a first priority. The best way to get referrals, the best way to make people happy and want to stick with you is just over and over again, provide excellent customer service, make them feel special, make them feel appreciated, make sure they know that you're going to get the job done for them, whatever it is, that they're going to get what they're paying for, what they're looking for. Nothing will get you a referral better than just delivering amazing customer service.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great, good reminder that we need to be aware of that, not just focused on the product and service that we provide, but really making sure that the customer experience is top notch.
Yeah, I like that. So all of these 9 tips together, I can totally see how it would help you retain clients because you're valuing them, you're rewarding them, you're incentivizing them, and you are giving you some street cred with your clients' friends.
Totally.
You're giving them more clout because
Right.
they're helping their friends out by referring you.
Yeah.
So makes sense.
I was thinking about another person that I know that was kind of struggling with this whole thing about just retaining clients, right? And just constantly felt like they had a need to, like, how do I get more clients and whatever? And I wish I could just have a repeat business, And we kind of talked about it and just what is the relationship like with the clients? And I don't think they viewed it this way, but I think that in some ways they might have had a little bit of a adversarial relationship. Maybe that wasn't their mindset, but I think really sometimes we can be so focused on our product or the service that we're doing that we forget that really that customer relationship is maybe even more important. So, like the quality of the pergola is going to be, it's got to be there, right?
Right.
But if it's a miserable experience, you're never going to refer that and you're not going to go back to them for, building something else or whatever it is.
Right.
However, if, the quality is good and it's meets expectations, but the service is exceptional, then, you're going to bend over backwards to make sure that, that is an ongoing relationship either with yourself or with somebody else. And I think that we need to really make sure that when we're having these our relationships with our customers and our clients, that having good customer service is growing the business. It's sowing into the future, right? So that we can continue not only to have business with them, but with hopefully other people, right? So it's so critical. And I think that all these tips, that helps us if we're developing these relationships. That's going to help us to really maximize the work that we're putting in there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not enough just to deliver what you promised. You have to also amaze and delight your customers and make sure that they feel really connected to not only you as the business owner, but to the whole experience. And I think just doing that is what a lot of small businesses miss. And if they get it right, though, I think that's the key to growth and longevity.
Yeah.
So what inspired you guys this week?
Okay, well, actually, I just came upon this quote recently, and it basically says, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. And that was by Thomas Edison. I don't know who that guy is.
Thomas Edison. He's my favorite quotist.
He's my favorite of the Edisons. And it's like you have like a bright idea, right? Is that where we get that whole
I think
thing
so,
from?
yeah.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I do think it is interesting. You talk about opportunity that. Sorry, it just reminded me of a joke that I just heard.
Oh,
Do
now
tell.
you have to tell
Okay,
a joke.
it's a dad joke. But, okay, so a son runs into the dad and says, Dad, we've got a huge problem. And the dad says, son, we don't have problems. We've got opportunities. He said, well, there's an opportunity to go put out the toaster that's caught on fire in the kitchen.
That's awesome.
That's definitely the
Yeah.
joke.
So, but yeah, sometimes things are on fire or they're dressed in overalls and they don't, we have to work for them. But I think it's all about a matter of perspective, right? So we definitely need to just, stop. Sometimes, even this morning I was frustrated about all kinds of stuff. And so then I just remembered that, hey, a lot of this is just how I'm choosing to look at things. And, in reality, it can all be handled. So let's figure out a way to just move on, or just to address the problem and move on. Make the problem into an opportunity.
It's good.
Yeah, and I think, to me, the moral of this quote is opportunity doesn't really replace hard work. Sometimes we can wait for opportunity to come to us, but sometimes just continually being diligent and doing the hard work and doing it when it's not easy is enough to keep moving forward and to, sometimes the hard work is what creates the opportunities. Most of the time, I think the hard work is what creates the opportunities. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's just like the whole thing about we could sit back and hope that people refer us, right?
Right.
And, some people will. And it's easy to look at somebody else and say oh, well, I wish I got all kinds of business like they're getting. But it's usually because they're saying, hey, would you refer us? Would you, they're putting out some material. They're doing something actively to recruit that business, retain the business, and we have to do that ourselves. I mean, I'm speaking right to myself, right? And not, instead of just hoping that things are going to go well and just that everybody is just going to say, I'm going to refer you to 5 more people.
Right.
Right. That was our business strategy for years and years. It's like, my business plan is to rely on luck and miracles. That's how this business is staying open.
And it stayed open, but it didn't quite thrive during that time.
No. And doing the hard work of a referral marketing program like this that's a great point. If you're just waiting around for those miracles to happen, but you don't really want to do all this extra steps because it's, dressed in overalls and looks like work, then, you're missing out opportunities, and you might be like, a salesperson standing on the street corner and you're just sort of like waiting for the right customer to walk by before you pitch what you have. Well, meanwhile, 10 people walked by that actually needed and would have bought whatever it is you're selling. Those stolen watches or whatnot.
Well, hey, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Thanks for listening or watching. We really do appreciate you. And this might be a good opportunity for us to ask you that if you're enjoying the show, again, we would love a referral. We would love a like or a share. Tell your friends about us. Ask them to check us out. We would so appreciate it. Again, thank you for watching another episode of Extremely Valid Points. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for spending time with us at the Extremely Valid Points podcast. To learn more about this episode, see our show notes at extremelyvalidpoints.com. Be sure and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download your podcasts. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/extremelyvalid. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at EVP_podcast. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time with some extremely valid points.